This is a guide for Murdantix, which is the first boss of Return to Hammerknell Fortress in Rift 3.2. The recommended raid comp for this is going to be 2 tanks, 1 Puri, 1 Chloromancer, 2 raid heals, 1 Defiler, 1 Bard or Oracle, 1 Beastmaster, and the rest DPS. There are 4 phases in this boss fight. They're based off the boss's health percentage. Phase 1 is from 100% to 76%. Phase 2 is from 75% to 51%. Phase 3 is from 50% to 26%. And Phase 4 is from 25% until the boss dies. Phase 1 mechanics are as follows. The raid and inactive tank will stack on the boss's butt. The active tank will hold the boss at the position indicated. He has 3 main abilities that you need to be aware of during this phase. The first is a frontal cleave that applies a stacking debuff called Mangled. This debuff increases the damage taken by 15% per stack. I recommend tank swapping at 3 stacks. Friendly NPCs called Rune Guards will spawn randomly throughout the fight. They will charge at Murdantix and will be killed by any AoE ability. When they die, Murdantix gains a stack of Strength of Souls. This increases Murdantix's damage output. Murdantix will periodically do a raid-wide knockback. This deals large damage to everyone in the raid, and it occurs sometime near when the Rune Guards reach the boss. For this phase, the raid will simply stack and damage the boss until he reaches 76% health. In Phase 2, you will need to have 6 ranged players spread out from the raid. In our raids, they move out of raid when the boss reaches 77% health. In addition to the Phase 1 mechanics, there will be 3 new mechanics. Murdantix will cast Demonic Blast. This is a 3-second cast time ability. This applies invisible AoEs to the 6 players farthest away from Murdantix. The ranged players need to spread out before the cast ends and remain spread out until about 3 seconds after the boss finishes casting. At random intervals, Demonic Leash will be applied to 3 of the ranged players. These players have 6 seconds to run to Murdantix. At the end of these 6 seconds, the players with Demonic Leash will be pulled to Murdantix and will receive damage based on how far away they were. This seems to do about 10,000 damage per meter. Do not go in front of the boss because he may cleave, and spread out after the leash goes away. Periodically, a green AoE will drop on a random player. This will pulse 3 times before doing any damage. Anyone standing in this will take significant damage. It should be noted that you can stand in the green without taking damage, just do not stand in the bubble. I'll explain in the video. In this phase, the tanks will have to move Murdantix when a green AoE drops on the raid. Do not move Murdantix if Demonic Leash is active. Anyone not designated as one of the 7 ranged players will continue to stack on the boss's butt and get out of the green AoEs. In Phase 3, the mechanics from Phase 1 and 2 continue with 1 new mechanic. Every 10 seconds or so, the boss will cast Soul Trauma. Soul Trauma is an AoE Confuse. This has a short cast time and must be interrupted without fail. The raid will continue what they were doing in Phase 2. The tanks will need to interrupt Soul Trauma. In Phase 4, the mechanics from all previous phases continue. During this phase, the green AoEs will spawn much more quickly, and for this reason, the tanks must continuously move the boss. Imps will spawn randomly around the room. The off-tank will need to pick them up as soon as possible. Pull the adds under Murdantix to be cleaved. If 2 green AoEs spawn on the raid, your Purifier will need to hit Flame of Life right away, or it is a raid wipe. Now that I've explained the mechanics, let's see how it all works.
I've got your command to attack, it's alright.
Okay. Do we want to soul mode first? Maybe if we go at 20.
Let's go.
Pulling in 3,
Let's go.
2, 1. So the starting tank will just pull the boss and face him away from the raid. And this is just a tank and spank until he reaches 76% health.
You want flag now?
Sorry, use.
Alright, never mind.
My flag.
Okay.
And here you'll see the tanks swap at 3 to 4 stacks. As the Rune Guards get near the boss, you see him do a knockback.
Jeff gets scratched.
The fuck?
I don't know. What?
I only put up 2 links.
Alright, 4 links instead.
The ranged moves out
Go
at
range.
77%, and phase 2 starts at 75%. Murdantix cast Demonic Blast and are ranged, are spread out so they don't kill themselves or the raid. 3 of the ranged players get Demonic Leash and run into the boss. And then he drops green on the raid, so we move the boss. Continue these 3 mechanics until he reaches 51% health. Pick him up, Earth.
Hope be careful, you're taking. Hope be careful. You're getting cleaved.
Not back.
Hodges. Addon's getting.
My boss.
Not back soon. Not back after blast, good deals.
Scratches, you know.
If you watch, you see Munch standing on the outside of that green AoE and not taking damage, as long as he's not inside that inner bubble. We just hit phase 3, 51% health, which means we'll now be seeing the soul trauma interrupts. Continue these mechanics until he reaches 26% health, and you get into the final phase.
I'll get her. Hope Ash. Okay, what the fuck?
Keep on. I got go.
Cut scratch. Shield.
Move the boss. You get out of screen shit.
Yeah, dude. He's in.
Flaring with next lava.
Ali, get in. Light, get in. Do you have any more resistance?
Use it on
Scratch, get
Naz.
Naz.
I'm.
Scratch, dubs, Munch.
My first select. Go ahead, guys.
Got him.
Net Jeff fan.
Get away from this like this. Not back. Good deals. Scary. Gathering.
Ash fan, Munch. Adams.
Taunted.
We just hit 26% health. Going into the final phase, you'll see greens dropping a lot
Move,
faster,
move.
so we'll move the boss continuously, and you'll see imps spawning around the room.
Head.
After these leeches, we have a bit of room.
Pick up the ads. Need a lot of movement. Pop back. Pop lane.
Stick with me, guys.
Ali lane.
Well, you can't even talk, guys.
Yeah, figure that out. Fine, stack's cleared right now anyways.
Keep it moving.
I got it. Or you got him, okay.
These ads.
Light, Jeff.
Stop moving, boss.
Jeff, get light.
Pick up.
Kick my guys, take them off.
Got him.
Adams, get in.
Not back.
Scratch, get in.
Get out of shit. The info house. Flame. Okay. Keep up.
Keep moving, guys. Don't stop.
I don't know what resistance on my KDM stuff.
Take these.
Don't think there is any resist. Keep it up.
Keep moving. Go the faster. Taunted.
Leash. Someone's really got back. Run 7 to die.
Nothing.
Nice.
Here you'll see double green spawn right underneath the raid. This is where you'd use flame. Continue these mechanics until the boss dies.
Guys, come on. Get out of shit.
We're well ahead in range.
Ash.
Careful.
Not back. Pop flame. Got it.
Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them in the comments section below. Good luck on your Murdantix kill.